The Dallas Mavericks are currently one of the teams that are considered championship contenders in the NBA for the 2022-23 season. They'll surely remain in that tier as long as 23-year-old superstar Luka Doncic is a member of their team. After making a run all the way to the Western Conference Finals last year, is there a Dallas Mavericks final appearance ahead of us? Or maybe even a Dallas Mavericks championship? Unfortunately for the Mavs, there are some things that they need to take care of before they make such a run. Here are the top reasons why the Dallas Mavericks will not win the 2023 NBA championship. You don't have to watch a lot of Mavs basketball to know that most of their success comes as a result of Luka Doncic's generational talent. Over the past few years, Doncic has been one of the leaders in both points per game and usage rate. That's not a way you attack a championship in the NBA. Leaning heavily on one player can result in teams easily adjusting for you in the playoffs, as proven in many cases before with players such as Russell Westbrook, James Harden, or even Tracy McGrady and Carmelo Anthony, if you want to go further back. Despite being amazing players, since their teams relied heavily on their individual performances, they hardly made any noise in the playoffs. Last season, the Mavs beat two dysfunctional and banged-up teams in the first two rounds in the Utah Jazz and Phoenix Suns. But once they matched up against the Warriors, the team's talent just wasn't enough to put up a fair fight. Luka Doncic's individual talent just isn't enough to get them through the edge. When a team doesn't have enough talent, that's when you need a coach that's able to do some creative thinking to figure out how to outplay the opponent. Jason Kidd is simply not that guy. Besides one soda-spilling situation, Kidd hasn't shown the same creativity and success that he used to show as a player. His 2021-22 campaign was his most successful one as a coach, winning 52 regular season games and 2 playoff series, which is a big deal, but he's not a top-tier coach just yet. When the Mavs face teams like the Warriors, Suns, or LA Clippers, they're going to be outcoached. According to ex-NBA player and current TNT analyst Charles Barkley, the Mavs' game plan is their main problem. They rely too much on Luka. While there's no doubt that Luka can lead them to a win against any opponent in any given time, the Mavs' style of play that revolves only around him causes a lot of problems. Luka and Kidd have got to figure out a way to empower the other guys to take on more responsibilities instead of waiting for Luka to do everything. They're never going to win a championship the way they play right now, because it's all Luka all the time, Barkley said in a segment on Inside the NBA on November 28th, and he might be right. With a slow start in the 2022-23 season, the Mavs had to make some changes, so Luka's stellar performances don't go to waste. They did just that on November 28th, when they released Facundo Campazzo to sign Kemba Walker. The 4-time NBA All-Star is not what he used to be, far from it actually. Last season, he was sent home by the Knicks and traded to the Pistons during the offseason, who released him just before the start of the season. He's been staying in shape, yes, but has also been without an arrangement until this signing. So is he a big enough piece to bring the Mavs to the next level? Kemba used to be an unstoppable one-on-one player, but he's not that guy today. Nevertheless, he is still an above-average three-point shooter that shot over 39% on catch-and-shoot attempts for 3 straight seasons. He's definitely going to have a lot of those opportunities, with Doncic and Dinwiddie's ability to kick the ball out after making an attack towards the rim. He's also a good pick-and-roll ball handler, and in a team who likes to run the spread pick-and-roll as much as the Mavs do, he's going to be in a good environment to show his capabilities as a playmaker. He's still a bucket, that's for sure. But one thing that's also sure is his defensive ability, or lack thereof. Kemba's always been a below-average defender, but the Mavs only need him to be passable on that side of the court. So let's hope he meets those expectations. As a team that desperately needs a playmaker and another ball handler, they'll give Kemba a shot in their rotation. They also have no interest in wasting another year of Luka's, so some pressure on Walker to perform is to be expected. Luka Doncic has been the most exciting player to watch in basketball since the game returned to the bubble in late July of 2020. Since then, Luka has been playing basketball non-stop, which is good and keeps him in form, but also harsh on the body. Luka was 19th in the NBA in minutes per game in 2020-21 and 9th in 2021-22. He's played a tough 6 and an even tougher 7-game series against the Clippers in 2020 and 2021, and also played 15 playoff games in 2022. In between the seasons, Doncic spent a quality time in the national team jersey. In the summer of 2021, he led Slovenia to the bronze medal game in the Tokyo Olympics, and in 2022, he played 7 games in FIBA's Eurobasket, where at the end, he showed signs of wear and tear. It seems that the Mavs have continued to struggle with their main problem this season as well, and this is burning Luka out during the regular season. To put it simply, history repeats itself, and the ones who learn from the others' past mistakes are the victors. It's been proven that teams that rely on a single player have not been very successful in the postseason. Luka's currently playing a career-high 36.9 minutes per game and has an NBA season-high usage rate percentage of 39.14%, which would be the third highest of all time behind, of course, Russell Westbrook and James Harden. Playing so much will most likely result in amazing stats and a better shot at winning the MVP by having them, but fine numbers aren't enough to win you a championship in the NBA. Even Jason Kidd is aware that this much load on Luka is not going to hold for long. When everyone's going at you defensively every night, and you're asked to do everything on offense, fatigue is going to show within 25 games, and that's somewhere around Christmas. Everyone's going to say that he's 23 years old, but he's human. Fortunately, so far in his career, Luka's been relatively healthy, but at some point, all these basketball games may take a toll on his body, and with that happening, the Mavs' final chances could crash. Luka Doncic's new deal with the Mavs kicked in this season and will keep him under contract with them until 2027. A 5-year span is long enough to rebuild, or in this case, to make the next step and win it all in the NBA Finals. With the new NBA's dynamic of players switching teams, looking for the best opportunity for them to win, there's a possibility that Luka may do that as well in the future, if the Mavs don't accomplish anything big anytime soon. That's definitely something the Mavs should try as hard as they can to avoid, because while Luka is single-handedly the core of the Mavs, he's also a very marketable face for them as well, generating most of their revenue, as people outside of Dallas mainly watch the Mavs games to watch him play. Luka also has one of the most sold NBA jerseys in the league, ranking as the 5th highest best-selling jersey in 2022. As Dallas is not much of a hot free agent destination, it will be tougher for them to find the right pieces to place around Luka during the offseason, so they have to be extra smart with their trades. So far, Luka hasn't shown any signs that he wants out, but you never know what could happen in the future. Let's just hope that the best is yet to come for Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks. As a quarter of the NBA regular season has already passed, the Mavs are sitting at a .500 record and a 9th spot in the Western Conference. The team has been mediocre on offense despite Luka playing at an all-time great level. They've been an above-average defensive team, a pretty good one in fact, putting up a 111.6 defensive rating, and they've held teams to 108 points per game. But they have had a couple of unrecognizable defensive performances, such as in the overtime loss to the Pistons, allowing them to score a whopping 131 points. With Luka showing signs of fatigue in some games, the Mavs have only posted a 4-6 record in their last 10, and were on a 4-game losing streak for a while. There's still a lot of basketball left to be played, but if they want to make some noise in the playoffs this year, they need to add a couple of additional role players to the squad, and the Kemba Walker signing needs to gel well with the current roster as soon as possible. As Luka said in an interview before the start of the season, you've got to take the journey one step at a time. First of all, you have got to make the playoffs. This is even harder in the West, but you learn. The goal is always the same for me and the team. We're trying to win the championship. That's the only goal we have, and that's what we're working for. There's always going to be high expectations for a team with Luka Doncic on it, but it's not very probable that the Mavs are going to meet them this season. However, there's a lot of time left in the season, and it can be very unpredictable. What do you think? Do the Mavs have a shot at winning it all? Make sure to comment below and leave your thoughts on Luka Doncic and the Mavs' chance to return the Larry O'Brien Trophy to Dallas.